I would like to take a moment to explain to you how this unit works. It's a little bit different than other units, okay? So the first thing you're going to see is on your cover page, there's a lot of reference material. So everyone make sure you have your green book out and we're looking at our cover page. You need one, yes. So what you'll see, first of all, is you'll see 4.0a, we have a periodic table with a red zone. The red zone will become important later. We have common polyatomic ions, which will again become important later. There's a whole bunch of information in here that you'll want to sort of go back to and refer to maybe once a week to see where we've gotten to. Now, this is a little bit self-paced. I say a little bit because there is a minimum that I'll need you to do by the end of, say, any given day, okay? But if you want to work ahead, this is designed so that you can work ahead. It was actually, I put this together during COVID so that if people were away or whatever, they could sort of learn it on their own if they had to. So here's how it works. When you finish a worksheet with a bolded quiz, so that would be like 4.1a, do you see how it says quiz 1? That means that once you have done that and you feel good about it, you are ready to write quiz 1. In fact, some people have already written quiz 1 because they finished their test a little early and decided, okay, I'm ready to write quiz 1, and so they already have. 4.1b takes us to quiz 2, okay? And then 4.1c, once you've completed that, you are ready for quiz 3, okay? So what's going to happen today is most of you are going to be doing quiz 1. You'll be doing the prefixes quiz, and then we will learn together about the binary molecular compounds, these ones. And then we will also learn about how to tell the difference between those ionic and molecular compounds. So you will be ready by the end of today to write quizzes 2 and 3. You may not get to the end of the work, but by the end of today, you should probably be writing quiz number 2 because you've already learned the prefixes. The actual writing of it is not too different from anything else. Okay. If you see a quiz that looks like this one here, what looks different about the way that quiz is written? Are you guys on your phones at the back of the room? Okay. Quiz number 4, what looks different about the way that one's written as opposed to the ones that have come before? Yes. The letters are not bolded. What that means is that we have more than one thing to do before we are ready to write the quiz. We're going to learn about multivalent metals, and then we're going to learn when do I use Roman numerals, when do I not use Roman numerals. Once you have learned how to do that, you would be ready for quiz number 4. But look, after quiz 4, there's more quiz 4 stuff. Why is that? It's extra practice. Let's say you write quiz 4 and you don't do very well, right? This is going to be a situation where I have usually between 4 and 5 versions of any quiz. You can retake the quiz as many times as you need to get the mark you want. They are all out of 6. Okay, every quiz is out of 6. So once you have, let's say you take quiz number 4 and you really didn't do very well at it, you could do the extra practice, right? And then you could try it again. You can ask me questions about it, try it again, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we're going to work through the whole thing. If you flip to the second page, the back of the cover, the inside cover, so flip to the inside cover, you will see that I have crossed this out because organic chemistry, unfortunately, I photocopied the wrong page for the front cover. This is actually the grade 11 one. So organic chemistry is crossed out, and there is a black diamond beside 4.5. And this one says, ask for additional package if you are interested. So that means that if you get to the end of quiz 8 and you're like, oh, everybody else is still working on stuff, I could look at how to recognize acids, how to name acids, how to write the formula for acids, and how to work on hydrates. That is our enriched section for this unit. Okay, but I'm not photocopying it for everybody because some people won't want it. Okay, so if you want it, you will request it. When you write your quiz, for this first one, you can put up your divider, okay, because everybody's writing it at the same time. But for most of the quizzes, everyone will be writing them when they are ready, okay? So you don't need to put up a divider. Guess what that means? If you wanted to, what could you do? You could copy off someone. In fact, I had one girl last year, and she copied off her partner for like most of the second half of the quizzes, right? Like she did it on her own for the first bit, and then she copied off her partner for the second half. So she got 6 out of 6 on a whole ton of quizzes. How much are quizzes worth out of your overall mark? 10%. 10. That's not very much. Your tests are worth, I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. I think it's about 65%. So she went then and wrote her test, and for the test there are dividers up, right, and all of this, and she got 13% on her test because she hadn't learned to do it herself. And so we had a big talk about, how that went, and so that was awkward. You don't want to have that talk with me, do you? No. Okay. And then she had to come in on her free time and learn all the stuff that she should have been learning during class time. She had to come in and learn it afterwards. And she never did do particularly well because she hadn't had all that extra time to learn it. She was desperately trying to get caught up at the end. Okay? So don't be like, learn from her mistake. Don't do that. Okay? Back here. Do you see this box? This is where your quizzes are. So quiz number 1A is the very first one. So if you want to take quiz 1A, you walk back here. And this is something that students don't know how to do because you didn't grow up with hard catalogs for the library like I did. You go in behind 1A and pull out the quiz 1A. So the 1A quizzes, are they in front or behind the tab? They are behind the tab. Your second quiz, do you think your second quiz is 1B, or do you think your second quiz is 2A? It's going to be 2A unless you want to do what with the first quiz? Retake it. 1B is a retake of 1A. 1C is a retake of quiz 1. 1D is a retake of quiz 1. But if you got a 6 out of 6 on quiz 1, don't go for any more of the quiz 1s otherwise, unless you really want to. I'm not quite sure why you would, but go on to quiz number 2A. Okay? Why am I so short? to go help yourselves to quiz 1A, and on the back of 1A, you're going to write your prefixes. Okay, so that way we can do them both at once. So on quiz 1A, I'll write that up on the board. So on the back of the quiz, you'll be writing your prefixes 1 equals 2 equals. And let me know if you have trouble finding the quizzes. And you can use your periodic table. Okay, so if you do not have a periodic table, let me know. I will find one for you. Anyone else need a periodic table? You've got one. Yes, please, just write, actually write your overview. There you go. So just right here. Thank you very much. Excellent, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. No, no. I was doing my Chem 11 enriched all weekend long. Sorry. Because they had their test the day before. Plus, I had to make like a 32-page document for them. Yeah. You know these workbooks you get. You know where they come from? Me. Yes. Yes. So, needless to say, I ran out of time, and I'm like, okay, I can't get your test fine, but I'm working on it. Yeah. Okay. So we have hi. I don't know. What did you do when you did the homework? Do you remember? Did we have to do anything? So you're gonna get to redo the quiz, right? Choose one. Choose one way of doing it, and you'll either get it right or you'll get it wrong, and then you'll know. Yeah? Sound good? Yeah, cool. Kita. Thank you. Mackenzie. Raina. Thank you. Zenny. Did you not do that? Come and get yours and do it. Yeah. Zenny. There you go. I don't know. Oh, here. Oh, perfect. There you go. Thank you. Stephen. There. Isla. You'll write the prefixes like on the back. Oh, just help yourself to wherever your quiz is. I don't know where it is. You can look for it. You get to keep it. Yep. Nathan. And let me know if you have questions, okay? Alyssa. Jessica. Yep. There you go. Jessica, Jessica, Jessica. Thank you. Caleb. There you go. F is fine. Yeah, either way is fine. So you've taken this one. You know what? This one needs no prefixes. Okay. So you're going to redo that one with no prefixes. Okay? Yeah. Jude. Jude. Your quiz is marked. Oh. Matthew. You got it right on the front. Your prefixes need a little work. Roy. Hyan. And you need no prefixes on the front, so I'm going to let you do that right now, okay? Yeah. Haley. Yes. Where is? That looks promising. We don't want the and, just the two words. Okay? There you go. You give me 1 minute to finish this, and then I'm going to teach you how to do number 2. Okay? Steve. Thank you.
What is the second one? That was kind of fun.
Huh?
You have
Oh.
A2 also.
Huh?
You've got A2 and A1.
Uh-huh.
They're different questions.
Yes, they are. But you don't need to do them. You just do quiz number 2.
Okay.
Okay, so you can keep that.
Sure. Good.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Haley. Okay, so Haley, did you do the homework on this? I can tell. You had 3 days. Why didn't the homework happen? Okay, so you were busy. All right, so you're going to want to go and do the stuff associated with quiz number 1 because when we name the metal, we don't change the name. Okay, so it just stays the same. And when we name the second one, it's always just the first syllable plus "ide", not 2 syllables plus "ide". Okay, so that needs a little work and hepta on the back there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Now, before I hand back the rest of the quizzes, I would like to show you, because most people are working their way towards quiz number 2, I want to show you how to do quiz 2. So 12, page 12. Okay. If you're writing quiz 2, just put it like, turn it upside down for a few minutes, just to make sure you have all the little, because there's a few picky details with this that I want to make sure you know. Okay. So this is page 12. And something that we did not talk about last day, but that you'll hear a fair bit, is binary compounds. Binary. What does the prefix bi mean? Bi means 2. Therefore, binary compounds are made from how many elements? 2 elements. And remember, okay, so these are called either molecular compounds or they're called, what's the other word for molecular compounds? Covalent compounds. Those 2 names mean the same thing. They form when elements do what with their electrons? When they share. Okay, so we look and we see here, oh, these 2 guys are going to share these 2 electrons. These 2 guys are going to share those 2 electrons, and we make H2O. They share electrons to get a full shell of how many? 8 electrons. How many for hydrogen? 2. Which is a very stable arrangement for the electrons. Between what types of elements do covalent bonds form? Nonmetals. And what else? Nonmetals. And I'm going to put like a little thing here, also metalloids. When elements bond covalently, they mostly form those little clusters of atoms bonded covalently. What do we call those little clusters of atoms? Molecules. And this is just a reminder, what are the two names of compounds that are made of only non-metals? Covalent compounds. What's the other one? Molecular. When the atoms in a molecule are all the same, like when we have two H's that are the same, two O's that are the same, two N's, two Cl's, we say that we have a molecule of an element. And we won't be worried about naming elements because you can just look those up on the periodic table, okay? When there are different types of atoms in a molecule, we have a molecule of a compound. And those are the ones that we're going to be learning about. So for example, we have NO is nitrogen monoxide. See why you were learning those prefixes over the weekend? We have water, of course. Can anyone think of what we might call water if we wanted to give it its like official name rather than its common name? It has two hydrogens and one oxygen. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. Let's take a look at the other ones. We have NO2. So that's nitrogen dioxide, and the di tells us that there are two O's. We have carbon dioxide. The di tells us that there are two O's. And we have nitrogen monoxide, which tells us that there is one oxygen. What could we name water if we weren't going to name it water? Tell your partner what you think. We have two hydrogens. What prefix would we use? Di. Dihydrogen. We have one oxygen. And I know the prefix is mono, but can you imagine if we wrote monoxide? It starts to look like monoxide. So when we have an O in front of oxide, we drop that O so it doesn't look and sound silly. Okay? So that's an introduction to how we do it. And in fact, some kid did their science fair, this was years and years ago now, on the dangers of dihydrogen monoxide. And they wrote like all these things, like if you have it in too high of a quantity, you know, it will kill you. If you inhale it in liquid form, it will kill you, which is true. You know, if you drink too much water, it will kill you because, you know, you need all the electrolytes in your body, all those ions and stuff, and you'll dilute them too much to be useful. So anyway, he wrote this whole thing. And then his actual science fair experiment was seeing how people reacted to it, right? Whether they actually believed, you know, the stuff that he was saying and if they could, you know, figure out that it was a scam. Anyway, interesting. So when we name these compounds, it's very similar to ionic compounds. So for the first element, it is the same as the element name. There is no "ide." So that's our first element. There's no "ide." So when we had calcium and fluoride, we didn't call it calcide fluoride. When we have copper and fluoride, we don't call it copide fluoride. Okay, the first name does not change. Same thing for covalent compounds, carbon, phosphorus. Okay, they did change a little bit. However, you'll notice that we do use prefixes, and that is one of the things that's different. When you have an ionic compound, you don't use prefixes. When you have a covalent compound, you do use prefixes. Just like for ionic compounds, our second element does change to "ide." So in an ionic compound, it's potassium nitride, iron 2 oxide. In a covalent compound, phosphorus trichloride, dinitrogen tetroxide. Okay. And I'd like you to notice also here, did you see how what does tetra stand for? Tetra means 4. What happened to tetra when we put it in front of oxide? We got rid of the A because once again, tetra oxide starts to look and sound weird. Yes? So we drop A's before oxide and we drop O's before oxide. We don't drop any other letters. So if I wanted to do trioxide, I would do trioxide because I wouldn't want to drop the I, otherwise it would just be troxide, which is just too weird. Yes? Troxide? That does not work. So don't drop anything other than the A and the O. And don't drop it in front of anything except for oxide. So don't drop anything in front of iodine. Sometimes people are tempted to. Okay. So here we have a list of all of our prefixes. You'll notice we have 2 oxygen atoms, dioxide. 1 oxygen atom, monoxide. Notice we did not drop the D or the I and get doxide, which would just be weird. We did drop the O. What's the prefix for 4? 4 is tetra. So when we have 4 chlorines, we have tetrachloride. We have 5 oxygens, pentoxide. What happened to the A? We dropped the A in front of oxide. We have 1 sulfur, monosulfide. We have 5 sulfur, pentasulfide. And where did I find these numbers from? Where did these numbers, how did I figure those out? Where did they come from? How do I know that there's 2 oxygens? From the subscripts, there's a 2 here, that's 2 oxygen. What does it mean if there's no subscript? There's 1 of them, so there's 1 oxygen. 4 chlorines, 5 oxygens. No subscript means how many sulfurs? 1 and 5 sulfurs. Did you notice anything a little bit different about the first element and how we name it? Take a look at the first part of the name and tell me if there's anything that you notice that's a little bit different. Yes. We don't put mono when it's on the first word. Okay? Do we put it on the second word? Yes. Do we leave off di and tri and tetra and all the others on the first word? No, we only leave off mono and only on the first word. Mono goes on the second word. All the other prefixes always go on both words. Okay? So mono gets left off the first word. But all the other ones take their prefixes. Okay? Okay, and then there's just a whole bunch more examples, so if you want to take a look at them, you can. You can use this as a way of practicing. You can practice writing your prefixes here. Which prefixes behaved differently when they were in front of oxygen or oxide? Does mono behave differently? Yes, mono becomes mon. How about di? Does di change in front of oxygen? No, no, dioxide. So di does not. How about tri? Does tri change in front of oxygen? No. Tetra? Tetra becomes tetra. How about penta? Yes, it becomes pent. Hexa becomes hex. What's seven? Seven's always a little tricky. Hepta. Hep. Hep. I don't know how to remember that. It's a weird one. I think you just have to stick it in your head somehow. Hep, hep, hip, 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 hepta, hepta, hepta. Now you're never going to forget it because your teacher's up here having like some weird spasm. Hepta, 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 hepta. And you'll be like, what number is that? That's 7. 7 is hepta. 7 is hepta. You see what I'm willing to do for you guys? I'm willing to make an absolute idiot of myself for you, okay? So I hope you're never going to forget that 7 is... Oh, no one did it like me. I'm so sad. Okay, that's all right. You don't need to make idiots of yourselves. I am willing to do it for you. Okay, so we have 7 is hepta, and that would be written as, for in front of oxide, it would just be hept. I like octa because you can remember octa is 8 because there are, what has 8 legs? Octopus. So octa becomes oct. And nona becomes non, and deca becomes dec. And we just answered that. Drop a vowel before oxygen and oxide with the letters A or O. I think we're just going to ignore that one. Now, the question 4, I think, is useful. What prefix do you use when you have one of the second element? Mono. What prefix do you use when you have one of the first element? None. Not nona, none. Don't use one. Are there any other prefixes that are not used on the first element? No. So the second element will always have a prefix. The first element will always have a prefix unless that prefix would be mono, in which case leave the prefix off. So I can say this 16 different ways, but the only way it's going to go into your head is for you to spend a little time practicing and trying to remember it. So if you have not yet been working your way through this set of exercises, this would be what you could work on next, okay? And while you do that, I'm going to start marking the rest of the quizzes that people have handed in to me. But do come up and ask me questions. I won't be wandering, but do come up to the front and ask me if you have any questions. And either way, you can start on worksheet number 4.1A. Okay. Thank you. Mackenzie. Yes, you sure can. Sky. There you go. The prefixes, monodi, tritetra, all of those, like numbers 1 through 10. Do you know them yet, though? Learn them and then do them when you're ready, okay? Yeah. Read. Oh, read is gone to the washroom. Okay. Evan. Tomas. So just a little spelling mistake. There will always be a fluoride because I want people to learn how to spell that one. Read. Really just spelling mistakes. So fluoride and silver, and phosphide doesn't have an R, and nitride doesn't have an O. So pay some close attention to it. A lot of them are just like, simple copying errors or whatever. Okay, but you know what you're doing, so that's the good part. Kyan. Caleb. Jude. There you go. Connor. Well, Dario. So just a couple of spelling mistakes. There's one here. And then actually this one wasn't a spelling mistake. You need to change the endings to "ide" for those second words. Okie dokie. Feel free to redo that one. You can find a 1B if you like. Mackenzie. So not bad considering you learned it on your own. So we have copper, which is all done.
Yeah. This stuff you explained on how it all works.
Excellent, perfect. Copper is in this gray area, which means it does need a Roman numeral. Okay, so if it's in the gray area, it needs a Roman numeral. If it's not in the gray area, it doesn't. Okay, so that's that one. Now for this one here, 6 is the overall charge of 3 sulfurs, right? So you have -6, which means you need +6, but you have 2 golds to give you that +6, which means that each gold will have a, oh, you counted wrong. Yes, you did. I don't know how you added 3 2s and got 12, but anyway, yes, you counted wrong. So that's basically, yeah, what that comes down to. And aluminum, again, is not in the, it's not in the gray zone, so it does not need a run. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I got the right test this time.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Actually,
I forgot we were working with that school system.
okay, so there we go. You'll get it back in a moment. I'm going to work through them in the order I got them. Alyssa. Thank you. Perfect. Jessica. Yeah. Stephen. There we go. Mackenzie. You can't win on this quiz. Alyssa. There you go. Do you know what you did wrong? So you need prefixes when it is molecular. Do not use prefixes when it's ionic. So you have to be able to recognize, is it ionic or is it molecular? Okay. So how do you know if a compound is ionic? What's it made of? A metal and a non-metal. Okay. So if you have a metal and a non-metal, that's going to give you ionic, and there's no prefixes. If you have non-metal and non-metal, then that's going to be covalent, and that does need prefixes. Yeah? So maybe do a little more practice on that one? Yeah? Cool. Vive. Right there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Caleb. Yes. Help yourself. Sky. So one of them's just like you don't drop A's in front of iodine. It's only ever in front of oxide. And then this one you just forgot that. Hi. Oh, sorry. Hang on a second. Were you wanting to do quiz number 2? Were you wanting to do quiz number 2? When you wrote this, did you mean to write quiz number 2? Because you wrote quiz number 1B.
Oh.
So these are all going to be ionic and they don't need prefixes. I think
yeah,
because you'd already done quiz number 1, you meant to do quiz number 2.
number 2.
Yeah, so you would want to do quiz number 2 instead of this one. Okay? Yeah. Hi. They only have 1 charge as well. Yes. You can do 2A. Yep. So folks, when you are ready, you can definitely do quiz number 2 if you have not done so already. Raina, same thing for you. Yeah, shall I just throw this one away? Yeah, okay. You have 10 minutes, it's lots of time. Let's see. Yes, you did. Oh, I can't mark it right, but the second half of it's right. Okay, so we don't drop A's unless it's in front of oxygen. Right? Only oxygen. Okay. Otherwise, it's just heptafluoride. And you forgot to change the ending to "ide."
Oh, yeah.
Yes. 4 is tetra, not penta.
Oh, penta's 5, right?
Penta's 5.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. And then we don't change the ending of the first word.
Never.
Never. Okay. Cool. Just practice a little bit more with that, and you'll be good to go. Okay. So folks, you are aiming. If you are on your phone, there's no good reason to be on your phone unless you are done quiz number 2. Even if you're done quiz number 2, you should probably be working on quiz number 3. Oh, you can of course retake it, yes. Hi. Can you bring it up? Yeah, do you know how to do it? Do you want to wait for the lesson next day? Yeah, why don't you wait for the lesson for next day? Yeah. Kita. There you go. James. James, bring your book up. Stephen. So we are working on the quizzes. So you, Stephen, there you go. Yep. You would want to be working on getting ready for quizzes number 1 and 2 for next class because you probably don't have time for them today. So we go to here. Okay. And for these ones, these are like the easiest ones ever. Okay. You just name the metal. So in this case, you would name it lithium. Okay. And then the second word, you take the ending and you change it to "ide." Lithium hydride. Sodium fluoride. Okay, do these ones. Once you've completed them, you'll be ready to do quiz number 1. Okay, and then for the second part, these ones here, first of all, you need to memorize these prefixes so you know which one means which thing. And these ones, instead of just writing the name and changing the second ending to "ide," you also need to use these prefixes like we were talking about today. So you would say, I have silicon, I just have one of them, so I just say silicon. And I have 4 fluorine, so I would say tetrafluoride. I don't say monosilicon because mono is on the, we don't put it on the first word. Okay, so take a schwack through those and come tomorrow ready to write those 2 quizzes, okay? There you go. Cassie, can you come up and bring your book? I just want to show you what to do here. Caleb. Just a spelling mistake. You forgot an O.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Something, yeah.
Hi. So, oh, this is good. Okay, so basically, yeah, for this quiz, you just write the first name, and then you write the second name, and you just change the ending to "ide," and that's it. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, right? And then, yeah, for the second part, did you catch what we were doing this morning with the mono and the di? You might need a little while to memorize them since you didn't have this over the weekend, but you can take, tonight and, try and commit those to memory. And yeah, okay, very good. Sounds good. Thank you. Mackenzie. Zinc is not in the gray zone, so it does not need a Roman numeral. There's that weird little pod of them in there. Okay? Yeah. Mackenzie, I'm so sorry. Wrote phosphide. It's okay. It means that you have bigger things on your mind than picky little spelling, right? Yeah. Isla. There you go. Raina. Silly mistake. Thank you. Hyan. So we don't put mono on the first word, but we do have to put it on the second word. And C is carbon, not calcium. That's just a silly one there. Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sunny. We only drop A's in front of oxide, not in front of anything else. Okay, so it is iodide.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're good. Okay.
Now I could not
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh no, you got it though? Excellent.
I could not find zinc on that chart. I took you through
But now you'll never lose it again. Okay, I'll have the rest of your quizzes back to you for next day. Okay? Thank you very much.